Hello. Okay, I'm just gonna get into this. I'm gonna ask you a really weird question. All of us have probably seen a three-legged dog at some point in our life. So I just want to ask you, and if you haven't, let's just imagine, you're walking or you're driving and you see a three-legged dog. Have you ever looked at a three-legged dog and said to yourself or thought to yourself, that is not enough dog? Disappointed. That is not enough. That dog isn't enough. I wish it were more. That's not enough dog. It's super silly. It's silly. It's not even like, this big existential crisis that's happening. Like, it's just silly. It's no, of course, that's enough dog. So this all kind of happened to me this morning after listening to Caroline Miss. She has a medical intuition module workshop that you can just do at your own time, and it's wonderful so far. I've just started to get into it, and this was a concept that she brought to light today, was being enough and not being enough, and this epidemic that's running through the modern, especially Western world, this concept of not having enough, not being enough, and just this enough, that word really highlighted in my mind and in my consciousness today. So as Henry and I were driving home from the gym, we see this, we know him, he lives around here, we see this three-legged dog with their owner, and I've never thought this a day in my life, but I look at this three-legged dog and go, are you enough, dog? Like, trying to process this whole concept of being enough. And I'm saying these things out loud to Henry as we're driving home, and I'm saying things like, hey, do you think a three-legged dog's enough? And he's looking at me like, you're nuts. I have no idea. I can't relate. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I just kept going with them. Like, no, like, answer me. Like, is that three-legged dog enough? And he said, of course it was enough. What are you talking about? I said, well, is it enough? Like, if that dog was yours, would you feel satisfied with that dog be enough? And he's just looking at me like, yeah, like you awful, like you're awful, like what you're kind of insinuating is pretty awful here. And then I said, I know, it sounds weird. It sounds like a stupid question, but let me like uno reverso on you here. Are you enough? Is Henry enough for Henry? Is Henry enough for Diana? Is Henry enough for his kids? Is Henry enough? And here's the existential crisis. Here's the like panic button that's been hit. I don't know, he says. And then now what was your innate feeling response when I just asked you that? Right? No, he says, no, I know I'm not enough. I got lots of room to grow. I have lots of needs improvement areas. I'm not enough. So this is the problem. So many of us feel this way, that we're not enough, that I'm not enough, that you're not enough. People in our lives are enough. So I started to write a list. How many areas, how many boxes have I created in my head that I filled with the not enough things? Certain relationships, and then recognizing the expectations and the pressures and the conditional love and support I was giving these people and situations. Very conditional, right? When something's not enough. So relationships that I discerned at some point were not enough, where I had an expectation, I had an attachment to that outcome, and then they never met that. They did not become enough. And that's a surefire way to like ruin something, is by deciding on some level that it's not enough, that they are not enough. We say it to ourselves, oh, I don't have enough, right? And very probably likely more a modern day, maybe not, I don't know. That's a good question, but not being enough. And then thinking about how we inject this into our past and our attachments to these stories and things that have happened. Well, maybe I didn't try hard enough, or they didn't try hard enough. Someone didn't do enough in my past or try hard enough in my past. And that's why this particular situation and present moment is happening. Right? So not being enough has this poison, it seems, that can infiltrate our past, our present, and our future, and can have this huge effect. It's like we try to manifest, we try to heal, we try to do all these things, but if that's part of our inner mantra, I'm not enough. You're not enough. The situation was not enough. I don't know how we break, like, how do we get to that outcome when that is such a big wall, right? The not enough, the lack, the fear. So then this led me to a conversation with Henry when I went, whoa, man, I've screwed up. I've screwed up a lot, because how many times in our relationship have I looked at you and had that conversation where I've gone, you're not enough of blank, or I'm this way and this is happening and I'm feeling this because you were not enough in these ways in the past. Wow. So then we set this up in relationships. And then even if we do healing and we try to move through pains and injustices, and we go to forgive and all these things, but then if we bring that mindset into the future, say we're having a hard day, we're feeling down, and we went for our partner to help us, help lighten the load or bring us up, and we say to them, hey, I have some needs. Can you meet them? And we're just trying to communicate that. If we're coming from the mindset of not enough still, it just doesn't come out in a good way, does it? It's like it comes out in a way where we're already having expectations of disappointment or failure. You know, we're sharing ideas with them. Oh, I have these needs. Is that something you can do? I need this. Can you provide? Can you help? Or maybe you're not enough to. So, it's conditional. There's a sense of disappointment embedded in there, unless we come from a place of love and excitement, or maybe excitement's not the word, but just positive expectations, belief in our partner, in our life, and in ourselves, that we deserve that and that they can give that because they're enough, we're enough. So that inner dialogue's changed, and then we come from a different place, right? But this is my big question to all of you. Maybe you can give me a hand. Maybe you can help me out. How do we ask our partners and people, the universe, situations in our lives, ask them for something, ask them for help, ask them to help us with a need or a challenge that we have, but coming from a place of I'm enough, you're enough, my life is enough, but I'm still asking, I'm asking for this because I feel like this is a good thing. It's in my best interest, and hopefully in yours. I mean, this is where I get miscombobulated, because it's sort of like, I know we need to come from this place. We can't come from a place of, I need to articulate with you that you're not enough. And I'm going to give you evidence. It's a checklist, actually. I've been writing it for a while. And all the things of why you're not enough. You failed here. You weren't here then. You really didn't give your best here. You weren't enough. But here's how you can be enough. I've done it. It's weird. So how do we go through this work with ourselves and each other while still having that constant foundational sort of piece of I'm enough, you're enough, this is enough? That's my question. So we want to work on self-love. Self-love. You can say, well, it's self-love, Diana. The answer is self-love. Yeah. Okay, but this is the problem. We started here. Yes, the woke community is working on self-love and self-care. Right. But the very fact that we're working on this, the very fact that this is a thing, is proof, is evidence that in some way, shape, or form, we have felt not enough. We have observed something, probably judged. Let's not use observed. We've judged something in our life, ourselves or someone else, as not enough. That's why we're here on the self-love. We're here on the self-work, being woke and recognizing that we need self-love, because we recognize that at some point we weren't enough. At some point we believed our life wasn't enough. So how do we become enough? Get to that end goal. Because the changes will have to be made. We'll have to be honest. We'll have to speak the truth, be capable of receiving the truth, make those goals and plans. But still always accepting that this moment is enough. I am enough right here, right now, even though I have this vision and this goal that I know I need to work towards. I know it's in my highest good and the highest good, and I'm working towards it. Right now is enough. And even though I will be a different version of myself in the future, And that's my goal. That's where I'm headed towards. But right now, I'm enough. How do we live in these places at the same time? And what's the best way we can communicate to other people that they're enough, but we still have things to work on? I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you for listening. This has helped me out so very much, being able to share this and express this. Thank you. Bye-bye.